Hi, I'm Martha Cooper. I'm a photographer from New York City, and I've been photographing various elements of hip-hop since 1978. At the time, I was working as a newspaper photographer in New York City for the New York Post, and they sent me to photograph what was supposed to be a riot. And when I got to the police station, which was in a subway station in Upper Manhattan, there were a bunch of little boys, maybe 25 little boys, and the cops said to me, well, actually, they weren't rioting, they had been dancing. And one of the policemen explained that they had these dance moves and that one boy had been spinning on his head, and that actually they had been fighting with each other about who won the dance because they were fighting for the shirts. They were wearing shirts, T-shirts. And so when they released some of the kids, the ones that didn't have guns and knives, I asked them to show me what they had been doing. So they demonstrated this, and I was amazed. I'm like, woo, I never saw anything like that before. So, but when I got back to the newspaper, when they looked at the pictures and they saw that there was no riot, they didn't use the photos. What first brought me to document anything in like bad neighborhoods in New York was the fact that I was working for a newspaper that not necessarily wanted to cover the cultural activities of these neighborhoods, but they were interested in the crime. It took me a year. For a year, I went around and tried to find this dance, but I couldn't find it. But with the help of a friend, I met the Rocksteady crew and began to take pictures of them. I was always interested in seeing creative activities, whatever they were, whether it was dance or art, that people did in their everyday lives, as opposed to something that they did to make money. For example, graffiti artists would be painting trains for each other, and not because they thought they could sell them in galleries, and that's what drew me to that. And then the dancing part of it was sort of the same thing. They were inventing a dance that they understood themselves, but not to be performed in a theater, on a stage, or for any kind of financial gain. And that's the connecting point for me, was creative activities in everyday life. There were no b-girls in the early 80s. I mean, I have no pictures of b-girls in the hip-hop files. I have 2 pictures of b-girls, early pictures, in my files, but not very good ones. And so suddenly I began to see b-girls, and that captured my imagination. But in general, b-boying today, it's amazing. But hip-hop today, I would say b-boying split off from mainstream hip-hop. And if you say hip-hop in New York City, people are going to think you mean music. They're not going to necessarily think you mean the elements. I mean, I think in Europe, b-boying, the music, dance, and art have stuck more closely together as the hip-hop phenomenon. In New York, it's music. And the commercial aspect of that music hasn't really, I'm not sure, I don't think, has filtered down to the dance. I don't hear about b-boys. I don't hear a lot of bling-bling or stuff around b-boys. This is like the best event I've ever been to. It's the one that's most fully funded in the way that it ought to be funded. I mean, the level is unbelievable. I mean, the power moves are incredible. Like last night I saw, I think it's the Italian guy, doing a handspin, not a headspin, but a handspin. And I've never seen somebody who could do a handspin and go on and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, it was incredible. I'm anxious to see the battling, you know, and whether it is a battle or is it a showcase, for example. And personally, I'm a battle person. The venue here is so interesting because I've been told that it was like the East German government headquarters. And the fact that they were able to get permission to come in here and hold this event here, I mean, just shows you how the world can change in not even a lifetime. I mean, and when I grew up, East Berlin was this like forbidden area. It's a wonderful feeling that there is the possibility of change in the world.